What's wrong?
I'm fine. Why?
Keep looking over your shoulder.
What if that guy did this to your car?
What guy? The clown?
Hey guys, you're listening. I'm just about to start and you keep fucking talking. That's right, everybody. It's Deathlocker podcast. We're back. We've got Skeleton Booty here who couldn't even wait for me to start the fucking podcast, and he's already interrupting people. Can I start it the correct way now? Can I?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, outstanding. Take two. You're listening to Deathlocker podcast. I'm Mr. Hobo Socks, and with me I got
Mark Bone.
and
Skeleton Booty.
Skeleton Booty. For some of you who might not be OG Deathlocker listeners, Skeleton Booty is one of the original movie chat guys. You can go on to the iTunes. I like saying the iTunes. Makes you sound like an old guy. The iTunes on the iPod. And you can download our, what he considers to be his opus, Detention Night.
It's got a place in my heart.
Probably the best, worst movie about a mascot slasher in the history of the world. Mark, have you seen Detention Night?
I have not seen it.
I don't care about your answer. The other one we did is we did the the Slender Man knockoff movie. Oh, what was it? Bedeviled. But the app.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad. And the only thing I remember about that is Cody, if you're listening, fuck you, Cody.
Fuck you, Cody. Hashtag fuck you, Cody.
Fucking Cody. But today, we are doing something a little bit more current. We're getting away from the retrospectives. We're going to take a look at the, what is it? We're watching some clown movie. Stephen King's It? Is that what we're doing?
No.
No? Okay.
No, the good one.
The Eli Roth movie Clown? Is that what we're doing?
No.
No? What's... it's a clown movie, right?
I think it's called the Spookifier.
The Spookifier? No. The Circus of the Dead. Is that what we're doing?
No, we're not doing that one tonight.
No circus. Oh, we're doing the Terrifier.
Hoping for killer clowns from outer space.
Yeah. I mean, we could just stop and go back and watch Killer Clowns, a good movie, and then do this all over again, or you just want to roll with the Terrifier?
We'll go with that. I don't know how current we are. I mean, like it was like 2 years ago.
Well, it's actually 2016, Mr. I know how to use a calendar pants. But it's current in that there's a sequel coming out soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
So this is like getting set up for the sequel for us to watch down the road at some time. Because this is a franchise, sir. It's a
Got it.
Franchise.
So,
what is your guys' history with the Terrifier? Mark, you go first.
I watched it for the first time today. I've scrolled past it on Netflix at least a couple hundred times, and saw the, just Art the Clown kind of like cover box. And I watched it for the podcast. That's my history with the Terrifier.
I heard big fan. And if this gets 100 views, you'll be getting a Art the Clown Terrifier tattoo as a tramp stamp. Is that true?
We'll see. Maybe.
We'll see. Let's be realistic. Are 100 people going to fucking watch this? Probably not.
That's why I should hedge my bets, right? Sure, yeah, I'll get the tattoo. It's not a problem.
Mr. Skeleton Booty, sir, what is your history with the Terrifier?
about a year ago, when it first dropped on Netflix, I was browsing, slightly inebriated, and I thought, this looks like dog shit. I got an hour and a half to burn, so I sat down and watched it, and all hunches were correct.
So you heard it here first. Twitch superstar Skeleton Booty likes to burn dog shit. It's fun. Okay, so let's look at this. Terrifier. The movie was directed by, I'm going to fuck this dude's last name up, Damien Leone. Am I saying that right? Do you guys know? Anyone else doing
Sure.
fucking math on this thing?
It can only be like Leone, so like it doesn't matter. It's good enough.
Leone, we don't care. He's never going to see
I
this.
don't think anyone's going to correct us. The David Leone fans aren't going to come out of the woodwork to downvote this podcast.
Negative 10 likes. He is the prolific director of such hits as Frankenstein versus The Mummy.
Masterpiece.
Yes.
Magnum opus right there.
Coming to a sci-fi schedule near you. This thing also stars Jenna Kendall as Tara, who you may know from other hit horror movies like The Bye-Bye Man. The Bye-Bye Man. Samantha Scadafi, that's her sister Victoria. She was in some crap called Demon Hole. That sounds like a porno, so I'm just going to leave that one alone. And then we got some chick named Catherine Carvona 19, who knows? But she is a alumni of not one but two Nukem High movies. That's right. Not one, but two Nukem High movies. And her biggest claim to fame is she played Zombie on an episode of Impractical Jokers.
Nice.
So we've got the A-level talent here. And Art the Clown, who's played by David Howard Thornton. Who?
It's not even the guy from the first movie. Let's be 100% honest. They found all these people on Craigslist.
Well, the guy from the first movie, I heard it was kind of like that whole Danielle Harris situation with Halloween. Was it Halloween 6? His quote went up, and they just couldn't afford him.
His quote for what?
For Terrifier, man. The first movie, what we're talking about is the Terrifier is kind of a pseudo-ish sequel to a movie called All Hallows Eve. And I don't know if you would call that a movie, but
it's like a bunch of shorts.
Yeah, a bunch of shorts that were kind of condensed together. We'll go over those in a second, shortly. But I'm sure his quote went up. He's like, dude, I want like $15 and 2 Subway sandwiches. And they were like, dude,
is that in the budget?
Yeah, they were like, dude, okay, we'll give you $15 and 1 Subway sandwich. And he's like, no, fuck that, I'm walking. I said I want 2 Subway sandwiches to play Art the Clown, 1 for each hand, okay? And they just said, no, dude, we can't do it. We can't hang with you. We're going to go get ourselves this guy here who apparently toured with some play adaptation of Willy Wonka. That's what got him qualified. But fun fact, after this guy played the Terrifier, he went on to play the Joker in a web series for like 15, 20 episodes. Something called Nightwing.
The big leagues.
Yeah, a web series, a fan-made web series playing the Joker. Ooh, Joaquin Phoenix, watch out. But yeah, I guess he got a taste for playing clowns.
Well, you know what the original guy went on to do, right?
Nah, I'm assuming, you see him at a Starbucks near you playing a barista.
He works at Pizza Hut. He's actually delivering right now. He reached the big leagues when IMDb doesn't even have a picture for him.
It's pretty bad. Well, at least the other dude, the
David
Thornton cat, he has the link to his manager and his agent and everything. So anybody out there in Deathlocker land who wants to hire this guy, just go onto IMDb, click the link, and you can have Art the Clown show up at your kid's next bar mitzvah.
Keep in mind, his price has gone up. It's about $30 now, so we'll have to in the wallet.
$30, 2 Subway sandwiches with extra meat and bacon. So if you can afford that, you can get Art the Clown, to show up at your grandmother's 100th anniversary. Maybe a funeral. I don't know. Maybe you have a new child born and, social distancing, and you want to have a nice little clown stand outside there and wave while they're covered in blood. Who knows? I don't know what people like.
He does bar mitzvahs.
He does bar mitzvahs. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. The Terrifier. Skeleton Booty, why don't you give us a quick plot synopsis?
All right. So a studio said, let's give the mastermind, the utter genius behind Frankenstein versus the Mummy, $100,000 to make a movie. Well, he spent about 75% on that on blow and hookers. The rest of it, though, he rented out a really cheap warehouse, threw some people in there, and hired a birthday clown. And then a homeless person was in there too, so he got his money's worth from the warehouse. And then, fucking, who knows what happens? Just clown shit happens. What plot do we need? It's a clown. That's how they crank movies out nowadays. Movie fucking clown. That's all we got.
There is no plot in this
There's
movie.
no plot. You want a synopsis? That's just a clown.
It's a clown. It's a guy dressed up as a clown. Before we jump in deep into Terrifier, I think we got to gloss over All Hallows Eve. Have you guys had a chance to watch? I'm going to call it Terrifier Junior because essentially All Hallows Eve is a couple of shorts that they just made a wraparound with and just said, "Here you go, streaming service, play me."
I watched it last week.
So
I've seen the original 2011 short, but not All Hallows Eve.
Oh, you're unprepared. I mean, that is the mantra of Deathlocker podcasting, as we are dangerously unprepared for any situation. Skeleton Booty over here didn't even bother watching the prequel movie. Mark Bone over here knew about this for a week now, and much like his cohort, who we've kicked off the podcast for complete ineptitude, Steve Ackerman, didn't even get around to watch the movie until like the day before we fucking record.
I watched it today.
Stellar job, sir.
I just want to point out, I'm sitting in a garage right now. I don't know what level of expertise you're expecting. I'm in some ugly ass Hawaiian shirt.
So
professionalism's out the window.
So for those of you who are listening to it through your favorite podcast listening device and not watching us on YouTube, Skeleton Booty is wearing I'm not going to say the ugliest Hawaiian shirt, but it's the word cockblock kind of comes to mind.
$9.99 at Ross. What a steal.
It is. It's the kind of shirt you wear when you want to encourage social distancing, because people just won't come near you because they're just like, no, that's just, it's loud, it's obnoxious, and it screams Skeleton Booty all over it.
It's much like myself.
If we get 150 views, Skeleton Booty will take off his shirt, sign it to you, and mail it to you, along with the pair of his. Along with this,
my shirt on stream. Let's make it happen, people. Like, share, whatever it takes.
At 300 views, he'll send you a pair of his skivvies with his last name and last four of his social on it.
Skid marks guaranteed.
Which would be appropriate for something that happens in this movie. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So All Hallows Eve, it introduces us to Art the Clown. He basically is the Sam, for those of you who are familiar with the Trick or Treat franchise. He's the common thread. The first, there's three stories. The first story makes no sense. It's like the seventh circle of hell or eighth circle of hell or some dumb shit. It's a super throwaway. The second one was this alien nonsense that I just completely confused me. Mark, what'd you think of the alien?
Well, actually, the All Hallows Eve and how it kind of came together, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Yeah, especially like reading that these were small little short films that he directed over a period of time. So he directed one, I think it may have been as early as, 2010 or 2008. And then he had another little short film, and then he kind of wrapped them together and put them in All Hallows Eve. I watched it. I didn't hate it. I didn't feel like I got a lot of Art the Clown out of it, but evidently he's kind of had a thing with this character he created many, many years ago before Terrifier. In multiple little short films he's used him. So
you say thing, I say fetish. Tomato. Out of All Hallows Eve, I think the last story was the one that's the closest to the Art the Clown story we get in the Terrifier. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of like the fact, I was thinking as a kid on Halloween, what would I do if I dumped out my candy bag and there was like just some sort of random VHS tape in there, and I they had the babysitter over there. I kind of like that whole thing, the put it in or not. The death scene at the end of it, with the kids, that's where you're going with it. Like just kind of that brutal gore fest, unapologetic gore, decapitate kids and things like that. That's pretty unapologetic. So yeah, I would agree.
So you guys both have children. What would you do in that situation if your child came home from trick-or-treating? And I have to pause real second because I'm with you on, I thought that All Hallows Eve was not horrible. It was disposable, but it wasn't like something that when I got done watching it, I was like, this is stupid, except for the part about who the fuck carves their popcorn, their pumpkins at 10 o'clock at night. That just irritated the fuck out of me. So Skeleton Booty, if you're not tracking, since you didn't bother watching that one, is the wraparound story. The wraparound story is some kids come back from trick-or-treating. They got a babysitter who's a friend of the mom's, and one of the kids opens up his bag of candy, and there's a videotape in there. Well,
yeah, I watched like a synopsis for it.
So you got a little bit of it.
I've seen his magnum opus. I don't need to watch anything else.
For some reason, though, they were waiting till 10 o'clock at night to carve their pumpkins right before they go to bed on Halloween.
A little late. This is a tad late. Who's this
zero,
for? I don't fucking know. Just call it the pumpkin.
Yeah, that made zero sense to me because just think about it. The pumpkin's supposed to ward away the evil spirits. Art the Clown's an evil spirit. They would have carved the pumpkin and been proactive and not reactive. They wouldn't have gotten killed. So the lesson learned here, these movies are full of lessons. The lesson you learn here, carve your pumpkin first. You don't get killed by a crazy fuck clown. Okay?
It's a good lesson.
So back to my original question. What, as adults who are smart, your kids come back from trick-or-treating and they say, look, Pops, because I assume that your children all call you Pops, and I've got a tape. Do you put the tape in? What do you do?
I mean, you got to watch it, right? But definitely not in front of your kids. Like, there's no way that my kids could convince me to just pop in the random tape in their bag. But I guarantee you, as soon as they go to bed, I'm popping in that tape because I can't wait to watch and see what's
because he's thinking it's a little about bow wow.
Well, it could be anything, right? Obviously, it could have been that,
Poppy.
but I mean, pretty scary actually. No, hi, Poppy. That's gross.
Oh, my first reaction would be like, holy shit, your first words. Secondly, you're 6 months. Why were you out trick-or-treating? Thirdly, I would probably throw it away. Not on account of I don't want to watch it. I don't have a VHS player in my house. I'm young. I'm the young hotness. We don't have VHS players anymore. Thing of the past. Now, if art was proactive and slid a DVD in my child's
or a thumb drive
or a thumb drive, right?
There you go.
I better check this out.
Yeah. So like your kid, your young child comes wobbling up to you like Baby Yoda.
Oh my God. I'd be terrified.
Thumb drive, Poppy, thumb drive.
Oh, it's like, I don't see how this could go wrong.
Is that how Baby Yoda talks?
Sure.
I haven't watched it. Like, I don't even I haven't seen it at all. So
in my version of the Mandalorian that goes on in my head, that's what Baby Yoda says, because I'm at one with the Force and I converse with Baby Yoda through the television. I
wonder if it would have his speech impediment or whatever you call it. It's like, don't try like that. This is rather uncomfortable.
Okay, so I guess it's time we actually get into the movie. So
we're talking about the movie.
We're talking about the Terrifier. So this thing starts with, like, oh my gosh, how would you explain it? It's they don't give you when it is or anything. It's a cold open with a news reporter. Yeah, what's that annoying blonde chick?
Amy Adams.
No, there's lots of other. The one who did the legal thing for a while.
Oh, Nancy Grace.
Yeah, with this Nancy Grace wannabe, and she's like, we're here with the survivor from, the guy who they knew as Art the Clown and blah 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 blah. And then you got this like disfigured lady comes on, and they talk about a bunch of nonsense, and they go off from talking about the nonsense. She's hanging out. Then the lady comes and she just starts sticking her thumbs in her eyeballs.
It's
Like
the
that.
ugliest looking dressing room I've ever seen. It's like the Deathlocker dressing room. It's very low budget. Pretty sure it's just a closet they found somewhere.
It is. It is. I mean, and I guess it's interesting for a beginning because I don't know what the fuck's going on in this thing. Then it just goes to these two chicks walking. So we don't get a present day. We don't get a hanging out in Manhattan. We don't get a 2 years later, 6 months before, nothing. It just goes right to these two hookers. But, well, they're not really hookers, but
They might as well be.
and that's where we're introduced. We're introduced to, let's look at my notes here.
Dawn.
Tara and Dawn.
Fucking love Dawn.
Dawn is
Which one was Dawn?
the blonde.
Okay.
The blonde, the one that's like, oh my gosh, I've had so many drinks. I can't believe I want to fuck those guys.
I'm on my
The
Tinder.
best character trope.
I'm on my Tinder and stuff, and oh my god, I'm swiping so many rights. Oh my god, it's gonna be so much fun tonight.
It's just that generic slut.
And you've got Tara, who's in the dumbest fucking Halloween costume I've ever seen. I mean, it's a little skeleton costume, but I mean, I know this is gonna sound a little pervy, but we are the Deathlocker podcast. This chick has like the worst body ever. It's like this, and she's wearing this costume with these things that pull it down tighter, and I'm just like, no. I mean, she literally has a skeleton booty, so I guess she's, your type there, skeleton booty.
I want to come back to we're like, that's the worst part. Look at the three of us. We're not at the top of the barrel. We're all winners, except for Mark. He's a 10 of 10.
So we get them walking down, and they're just doing the standard drunk chick stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then we get a huge lesson. Do you know what the lesson is we learn?
Let your friend who's drunk go ahead and drive you home if there's like a maniacal clown staring at you.
Exactly. That's on my note. The lesson is, and if you want to sue us, contact nerdlocker.com. DUI is okay
legal.
if you have a crazy clown carrying a trash bag. It's staring at
Remember,
you uncomfortably. Yeah.
DUIs save lives.
Yep.
God.
How's the song go? I say don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink before you get behind the wheel to stop and think. I'm not so worried about how many I kill. I'm just much more concerned with how much beer I'll spill. How much beer I'll spill. Nah, 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 nah.
Not heard that song.
Yeah.
And I do not subscribe to that belief.
That is NoFX. Punk band, NoFX. It's meant to be.
Old.
It's meant to be satire. Satire. Okay.
I get it.
Deathlocker is not condoning drunk driving unless you're a character in a movie with a crazy clown chasing you.
Then it's okay. Just tell the cop, there's a fucking clown back there, man.
So our heroes, and because we have to have heroes and villains, we're going to call them our heroes. Our heroes decide to chug on down to the local pizzeria where they think it's going to be safe and get themselves a piece of pie. Because apparently, if you have a piece of pizza, you're no longer drunk.
That's how it works. Science.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
Science. Bill Nye the Science Guy. He did an episode on that with a bunch of drunken rats, and he gave them a pizza, and they weren't drunk anymore, and they're okay to drive.
I like how the owner of the pizzeria is like, who should just the most generic Italian guy we can find. Just throw him in there.
Had the shirt with the Italian logo on it and everything.
They walk, hey, you want some pizza? It's like, what the fuck?
He saw the blonde girl, and he's like, fuck, Princess Peach, you're okay, you're here. Mark is at a loss right now on this episode. So
It's old school.
So Mark, we're at the pizzeria, man. Break it down for us. Tell us about the haps at the pizzeria.
Well, I mean, they're sitting there, they're eating their pizza, and the clown that was just previously stalking them in the alley.
You say stalking, I say minding his own business, being a
minding
concerned
his own
citizen.
business. Sure. Like collecting trash. He's got his trash bag, and he just throws the trash bag down and sits down, which actually, like, there's a scene in the pizzeria, we'll get to in a second, like, I think is the scariest part of the whole movie, like, for me. Like, it was really just the physical, facial expressions when he's going through the different smiles and stuff. You know, you kind of the camera would pan away and come back, and he'd turn his head real briskly with a different smile. Pretty creepy. But and the drunk chick, she does drunk chick things, like, of course, get on social media and take selfies with the killer clown in the pizzeria, and physically, like, grab his face and turn it over so she can, like, create, like, duck lips with his face, like in the selfie.
It sounds like you're almost saying that the clown was the victim here, and that he
was victimized.
He was being cyberbullied by these little teenage whores. He was assaulted. He was assaulted by that blonde girl. And
nobody does that, though. Like,
media.
you would not do that. You wouldn't, like, go in on if there was some, like, crazy clown with a trash bag over there. You're not, nobody drunk enough, maybe Skeleton Booty.
You give me the chance.
Go sit on his lap and say, we're going to take a selfie, and, like, then physically grab the clown's face and, like, pose it for the picture. It was pretty insane.
Now, for a second, I thought where they're going with that was going to be kind of a good idea. She takes the picture, and then she says something like, hey, if you fuck with us, you're on social media, people are going to know who you are.
No, she wasn't that smart.
She wasn't. And apparently I was smarter than the movie, because I was like, dude, this chick is brilliant. Then I'm like, this chick's a fucking idiot.
I thought he was going to slash her, like, while she was taking the picture or something. It's kind of like where my brain was going, you know, like some of these, well, you know, live streaming or social media type, you know, things that have happened as of late where people have lost their lives or been in tragedies while they're doing stuff. I kind of thought that that's where they were going with it, but no.
I think the overall strength of the movie was the actor who played the Terrifier, because one thing that the movie had going for it that I think carried it over all the other jackassery was he stayed in character, and the mannerisms and a lot of the fluidity in which he acted his part, you know, very mime-like. It was consistent throughout the movie, and there was a consistent sense of creepiness about it. So even when all this little dumb stuff was going on, you know, you still were kind of drawn back in the movie with the scenes like Mark's talking about, because he just was just staring, just straight face, and then just little tweaks and little looks just made it like really fucking creepy.
Yep.
Was Mike Gianelli like that in All's Hallows Eve? I don't remember him like being as eccentric.
And the very beginning at the bus stop, he was kind of like that, but just that one part, because there was the very first vignette, I guess you would call it, it starts off they're in a bus stop, and the victim's just hanging out, looks over at the clown, and the clown's just sitting there and being kind of quiet, and does that. But I think in All Hallows Eve, that's really the only part where he does the, you know, not really moving, you know, it's just still then a movement. So
yeah, it's definitely the best part of Terrifier is David Thornton, and I mean, I didn't really realize, you know, how creepy mimes. Yeah, it made me think about mimes in general, and I think that, like, the miming works because, you know, there's no talking, and so you're really focused in on all of the minute changes in, like, body language and facial expressions, and I mean, all it takes is just a little, like, shift, and it can become, you know, really creepy really quick. So it was good. I enjoyed it.
It was a great character design too. I mean, it wasn't
so Mark, what you're saying is he earned that $30 and 2 Subway sandwiches.
He did, and that left them with $99,960 to spend on the rest of the movie
for the special effects. So our heroes decide it's time to go ahead and, well, Art the Clown does some shenanigans in that bathroom.
And I swear, like, when I watched this, when I worked at Blockbuster Video, back when Blockbuster Video was a thing. So I'm
Hold
going to
on.
date. I'm going to date myself.
Skeleton Booty's young, so you might have to explain to him exactly what Blockbuster Video is.
Back in my day,
Blockbuster?
we had
What's that?
video. We had video stores that had movies in them, and people would come in and rent them. And on this one particular night, someone went in and smeared their own fecal matter all over the bathroom at the Blockbuster Video in Mesquite. And being a lackey, low-level tape putting back employee, I had to actually clean that up. So when the poor Goomba that worked at like the pizzeria had to go and clean up Shark the Clown's shit all over like the wall,
Fucking felt that.
I felt it. Like it really like home with me, because he's like time and a half. I better get time and a half. But yeah, that was pretty wild. That was
Did
interesting.
a single
Brought
tear
back
roll
bad
down
memories.
your cheek?
Yeah, because I was traumatized growing up from that experience. I mean, it was pretty bad, and it sat in there for like, I don't even know. And it's not too many people went to the bathroom at Blockbuster, so I think it was at least 2 or 3 hours aged
In the heat.
by the time that someone like came to the front counter and said, "Excuse me, I think you need some attention in the bathroom. Someone may have done something." It was just the worst thing
Yeah.
ever. I don't know what compels you to do that, but they did it.
This is real pain you're making him live through, Hobo Socks.
I would have loved to have been that. I would have been that customer. Excuse me, Mr. Bone. Yeah, I was just in the bathroom and somebody pooed in there. Okay, yeah, I'll go. The things, the
I
flushers,
quit.
the flushers not mixed up and then flushed down.
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
Yeah, it looked like a crayon. It looked like they used it like a crayon, like across like the wall.
He spelled Netflix in his own feces on the bathroom. I don't know.
It was bad. So like I felt for that guy in the pizzeria. So and of course that gets Art kicked out of the pizzeria, because of course you would kick that customer out of your business.
Well, again, Art the Clown. He is again the victim. He's been cyberbullied.
Harassed.
He's been harassed. He's been assaulted.
He has uncontrollable bowels. It's not his problem.
Yes, he has irritable bowel
help it.
syndrome, and it's a disease, and he's being discriminated against because he's got irritable bowel syndrome.
And all he wanted was a piece of pizza.
That's all he wanted was a piece of pizza. That's it, just one single pizza, and they wouldn't give it to him. He's not the one who's crazy. You're the one who's crazy. He went to yours.
GoFundMe for this guy?
He went to your schools. He went to your learning institutions. Come on, really nobody? Suicidal tendencies? Oh, do you people suck?
No,
That was a reference to a suicidal tendency song. Anyways, so Art the Clown, he just wipes his poop everywhere. He thinks it's a great old jolly thing. The other guy's like,
he's really happy with the end result. That's for sure. I love it. Yeah,
so
the look on his face.
Skeleton Booty. When your child becomes of age, you'll have your own Art the Clown moment.
I don't know. Hey, honey, can you handle this? I'm going out for smokes.
I'm going to a warehouse in the middle of nowhere for a while.
That's why I'm in here now.
So our heroes, if you will, they make their way back down to their car, and their tires flat. Oh no!
Slashed.
What you're gonna do? You're gonna go into the weird, call your sister, and she's gonna have the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Hey, my phone died. Oh, it's because you're always on social media. Fuck.
I just thought like it was funny how the sister didn't really care that her sister was stranded. Like she was going to stay home and study and not go and help her sister out until like her roommates came back in and started getting busy.
It just shows priorities.
Now, I'm not an expert on college, but what class has midterms in October. It's a cover
I
up.
didn't even think about that.
We're digging deep.
So, something I've learned on the internet. I don't know if you guys have seen this show, but there's a show called Pitch Meeting. Where
No.
this guy, he's basically pitching a movie to himself. He's playing both parts, the screenwriter and the executive. And basically the shtick of the show is they're kind of making fun of the movie through the screenwriter pitching it to the executive. And one of the favorite lines in the movie, a constant thread, is when the studio executive asks, why is this happening? The screenwriter says, so the movie can happen. So that strictly falls into the category of so the movie can happen. Or maybe she's going to some sort of like special school online or something. Well, I guess she's in a dorm room because they do that whole, hey, my dorm mate's a hoe bag and is going to start fucking someone right next to me business.
They did that so they could pad 30 extra seconds into the movie.
Yeah, this movie probably does have a few minutes of fluff in there.
At least
I have
20.
to study for my midterms.
You gotta say it slowly. You gotta have a little, you're my favorite sister. Oh my God, but I'm gonna say some stuff about you. Oh my God, but you're my favorite. Okay, I will come get you now. And like, where the hell was she living at, dude? Did she like call her from like 40 miles away?
Oh, for her to get downtown, like much later into the movie?
Could you not just go back to the pizzeria and like call a cab or something, or the tow truck or AAA?
It's Halloween. Everyone's busy. Traffic's crazy.
And where were they
coming? Of it.
What Halloween party were they coming from? There was nothing going on in that street. Nothing. They're just like randomly walking down some back alley somewhere.
And the only thing open was the pizzeria.
That it would make sense. Now, good thing they didn't go back to the pizzeria because Art the Clown made himself a little cameo back there. But logic would dictate you'd go back to the pizzeria, would it not? It's bright, it's shiny. There's a couple Italian sausages there to help service you pizza.
Maybe they're racist against Italians. We don't know these people. They said, I don't want to go back. There's Italians.
I think so. They were just
dicey around them.
They were like, this pizza sucks. Screw them. They did fold that was some like Costco pizza. They just like folded it like a.
Yeah, she brings them. They had to wait for like
I got a piece of,
piece
I got a piece of pizza. Just roll it all on up.
The pizza quality was lacking, to say the least.
Yeah, it was. Half the budget went to the pizza quality.
I will say that, like, as Art made a second appearance at the pizzeria and disposed of the owner and the guy who ended up having to clean all the shit off the walls before he died. I mean, that really sucks. Yeah.
How would that
I love the jack-o'-lantern kind of effect of what he did with the owner. I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah.
So I've got a question for the two of you. Do you think that the folks over at Blumhouse stole the jack-o'-lantern idea from the Terrifier that they used in H40?
I don't think Blumhouse has ever done anything original. I think they take 90% of what this is a call out to you, Blumhouse. Please don't sue me.
You heard it here. Skeleton Booty saying Jason Blum, your company's you're dirty thieves for stealing the jack-o'-lantern head idea that you repurposed when the cop was killed in H40.
So
if you have a problem with that, nerdlocker.com/legal.
Yes.
/legal.
/legal.
I haven't, this is probably more for another podcast. I think you know this already. I'm not past Halloween 2. I'm not really a fan of the franchise past Halloween 2. So I've actually never seen H40. So I wouldn't have known that was a callback to, or that was some sort of like possible.
Yeah. Callback implies homage. They just straight stole it. Dude, it's like if you're walking down the street and someone just sticks their hands in your pockets, Orange Cassidy style, and just straight up snatches your wallet away. That's what they did. They snatched this guy's wallet. Okay, I'm just saying.
Coming back to the Jack Lantern thing. Like this movie kind of upsets me because the special effects are really hit and miss. Like Lasagna Face in the first scene looked. I didn't like the way she looked. I thought it looked like trash. But then you get the Jack Lantern, like perfection. It's really hit and miss sometimes with them.
Lasagna Face looked like a Spirit Store mask.
It looked really cheap. And we didn't really talk about, but the director, like that's the background he comes from is special effects. And I would argue that the special effects is probably one of the weaker aspects of the movie.
Oh, I mean, his background isn't that he comes from good special effects. He comes from special effects. Like, fuck. I can say I can make special effects. It doesn't mean I'm good at it.
I do appreciate good attempts at practical effects. Especially nowadays, practical effects, even poor execution. I appreciate the attempt, but I agree that it wasn't all executed as well as you would have expected.
I mean, obviously, budget was a big problem with that. So, but I think that takes us to about 20 minutes in, and we get our first kill, which isn't too bad. And then
I thought the reporter was killed in the beginning, so it wouldn't be like I guess it's the first art kill.
Yeah, I don't really count. Yeah, the first art kill.
There you go.
I don't count that. Fuck you. I'm going on my thing, and you're just trying to mess. I had notes, sir. I had notes. Okay, so Art the Clown, he goes, and I mean, I feel bad for the one dude. He spent all that time. I mean, Art waited till he got done cleaning up the shit, and then he kills him. So, I mean, I guess the guy got that second of gratification for a job well done. Then the girl, what's her mafuck, Tara. She decides that she's got to go take a crap because, as we all know, greasy Costco pizza runs right through you. So she's got the bubble guts. And maybe that could have been Art's problem. Maybe he actually had the pizza earlier, and that was just explosive diarrhea that he had from the Costco brand pizza. So she goes into they conveniently parked their car in front of the one building that had any lights on it. So their car serendipitously, if you will, was parked in front of the one building that actually had lights on it. She catches the bug man. She goes in there to go take herself a poo in a really nasty bathroom. And then we get the stereotypical trope of I'm not paying attention on my phone. Somebody gets my car. I'm going to talk to you. And then,
Wait, can I say something about this scene?
You can say many things about the scene because I know you have 9 pages of notes.
So I know like this is not the movie to be like nitpicking shit in, but in the photo that she's like, because she's scrolling through her phone because the radio's like, by the way, there's a fucking killer clown out there. Watch out, folks. And she's like, wait a minute, killer clown. And she's like going through her photos. The photo that she lands on with her and Art, she didn't fucking take that. Every time she had like her hand on his chin and all that. I was like, gotcha, Daniel. You screwed up. I'm gonna bring this up on the podcast later.
You are. I mean,
I'm probably the only person to ever notice that because I'm the only person to actually care. We're like the 3 people that have taken notes during this movie. That's it. No one else cares.
We're probably the only 3 people who've actually gotten together in one place to talk about the movie. So are you saying here, Skeleton Booty, on Deathlocker podcast, that you're challenging the director to do a one-on-one interview with you to explain his ineptitude?
I'm calling you out, Daniel. You want to get in contact with us or file a lawsuit, nerdlocker.com/legal.
/legal.
We got lawyers. They're really cheap, so don't go too crazy with them, all right?
So she gets snatched up. We don't see her for a while. Her friend's bebopping around the cockroaches. Now, I think they did a pretty good job dressing up that warehouse. I mean, you can tell that's where the rest of the movie pretty much takes place. And then we kind of just get a little bit of a cat and mouse for a while. I mean,
you got to remember the lady, Emily, whatever the fuck she
yes. We get and maybe one of you guys can explain to me other than runtime and for a gag later on, having a body to do the gag later on, what was the purpose of the homeless lady and her doll?
So It was. I take it as it was just kind of like a body count thing, and to move plot forward. I will give this movie one thing. I don't really like jump scares. I don't like when movies overutilize them, but this movie does a pretty efficient like balance of jump scares and then like pseudo jump scare buildups.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It does a good job of drawing the tension out. Like, I mean, there's a lot of long, drawn out tension, and then you have like the payoff on it. So I would agree.
I think that's one of the things that takes a super low budget, what could potentially be a throwaway movie, and elevates it a little bit, is that they don't overdo on the jump scares. You know something's coming, but it's not like every couple seconds. Dun, 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 dun. They're a little bit smarter with it.
This character, like, it introduces all the players pretty quickly. It does a pretty good job moving the plot along. And that's exactly what this character is for, is to move the plot along, had time a little bit.
What plot did she move along?
Oh, the killer clown's got to go somewhere else.
So there was no fucking plot that she moved along.
She moved along the best plot in this movie, which we're gonna get to later. My fucking favorite scene. But she's the weakest character in it, and all the characters are pretty weak. Like the whoever the fuck betrayed her, because I didn't look too much into the actors. They didn't do a very good job. It was she's just like, Emily, my baby, and I'm
she didn't really look like, from an aesthetics, she kind of looked pretty well put together to be like homeless and living in like a dilapidated warehouse, I thought.
I will say that's a homeless lady I would pick up. That's horrible.
Skeleton Booty's roaming the streets after a Halloween party. He's looking for a little strange on the side, and all of a sudden he sees this homeless lady in her cart with a little baby, and he's like, "Hey there, want to go get a pizza? I know a place.
I know a place that will go right through you." I will give Tara this though; she handled the situation correctly. I've had homeless people come into my work talk about, the satellite scrambled my brains, and that's like, oh, that's cool, man. Hey, I gotta go check out something over there.
I've been there for a few of those people at your work who just walked in.
The world's gonna end in 3 months.
The world's So the one of the dangers of having your office next door to a check cashing place. You get all these fucking randos. Let me tell you about the aliens. They're coming.
Satellite's melting my brains, man. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
please get the fuck out.
True story. I've been there for a few of those at his profession, where some interesting people have just kind of wandered in off the street. It's not the best part of town.
That's like how the Dookie scene really hit Mark as like something that was real. The crazy lady scene hit me as like, that's how I would handle it. Good job, Tara. I'm proud of you.
Did you hit pause and just start?
I shed a single tear, and I wrote an email to the director saying, "Hey, I'm proud of what you did."
He redeemed himself, so do I now have to recant our invitation for you to yell at him about his incompetence, because now he's installed a sense of realism into this?
No. That still sits, because this podcast needs any help it can get, even if it's like some D-list director.
D-list director. Okay, so where are we at? So we get the lady, and she's doing her stuff. And I got the movie up right now. I'm trying to thumb through. I think we finally get to Art grabs her. And we get to one of the two, I think, iconic things that most people are going to remember this movie for. So first thing is we get to see all the goodies in Art's bag. And I have to ask, where is Art buying his trash bags? Because there's some pointy ass shit in there that's not popping out from the bag.
That's a very nice trash bag.
It is. It's like some hefty. I mean, he needs to be doing those hefty commercials. Not John Cena. Art the Clown. Oh, someone's looking at their notes. For those of you who are listening to this, Skeleton Booty is reading his notes, getting ready to break us off a little something.
So another thing, it's like, I know I called this movie dog shit earlier, but Another thing that I personally really liked in this movie was the score. Whenever Tara like bumps into him and he's just doing this creepy shit and then chases after her, I felt the music really matched the scene. The pauses were good when they needed to be. I mean, it's kind of pretty well done for being such a cheap movie, especially if it bought all that cocaine. My notes just say synth music. Mwah.
Heard it here first.
All right.
Deathlocker podcast. We're a fan of scores. So we get to probably one of the. I gotta say, I don't think I've seen a kill like this. Have you guys? The closest one I can really think of is
Until Dawn.
I'm thinking Wrong Turn 2 at the very beginning. There was a split in half kill, but I don't want to say I was cringy, but I was like, dude, that would hurt.
It was pretty brutal.
Hanging upside down.
Yeah, dude, and it was just like, and then he pulls the Dawn is butt naked, hanging from these convenient straps that for some reason were at this warehouse. Very
you guys don't have those in your warehouses?
I don't know. Mark, what about over at your job? Do you guys have random straps hanging from the ceilings?
No.
No, yeah. This is a very serendipitous. Maybe they're in his bag, and he just, apparently the Terrifier's bag reminds me of Felix the Cat's bag. He opens it up, and all kinds of shit comes out of it. So maybe he had his wench and all that kind of stuff in there. But she's hanging upside down, spread eagle, and he pulls the panties off, and he just starts sawing her right down the vajayjay. And I was like, dude, that is like legit gotta hurt, because there's a ton of nerve endings there. I'm like,
well, and then you get to like the disembowelment part, because he is going like straight down through half her entire body, all the way down to the skull, and then all the innards coming out and like hitting the ground. I mean, it was just, it was certainly gory.
My mind went to kind of a different place from you guys, though.
Okay.
So at that moment, I kind of got an appreciation. Obviously, art works out. I don't know if you guys ever try to saw anything, but going through bones like Rusty, he's got to be jacked. Imagine that strength. What do his delts look like? That's what I got to know.
So you're saying that Art has a very strong cardio and core workout system going on?
I'm saying Art works out. I'm kind of fucking starting to admire this guy. He's overcoming people picking on him, his obvious bowel issues. He works out to kind of better himself. Art's kind of a hero that we can all kind of learn something from. Is what I got from that.
We should just get behind Art the Clown.
Free hashtag free Art. Art. He's a simple guy.
I could see it. I could see where Art's just misunderstood. As
That's the real moral of the story.
Well, as a society, we're just so conditioned. It's the social norm to look down on somebody who just arbitrarily kills people. But all Art's doing is just punishing folks. I mean, if you're religious, you could say that he was just a hand of the Lord's vengeance. If you're a comic book fan, he's the Spectre from the comic books. I mean, or for Marvel, he's the Ghost Rider. So, I mean, is Art really a bad guy?
Everybody who he's killed so far has done something to him first.
They've deserved it. Yeah.
Yeah, they had it coming.
I would go one further is to say the irritable bowel thing. Maybe that wasn't so much irritable bowel, but that was just Art's art. Because he did sign it. He did sign it Art, right? And then those guys go, what they do with his hard-earned art, they wipe it away like it means nothing to them.
Who here has not gone to a pizzeria or a Blockbuster and just spread your art before? That's just a normal
spread
thing.
Your art.
It's a coming of age.
I would just let mine dribble down my shorts and leave a trail.
It's just like roll it out.
Little stanky leg wiggle. So
it takes a while to get down the clown suit.
So we get old girl. She gets sawed in half. And one thing I will give the Terror character, for a majority of the movie, she's doing good Survivor Girl stuff. I don't think she's making too many dumb decisions in context to what's going on. She calmly, very calmly watches her friend get sawed in half. She yells, but she has the presence of mind to wiggle around and get free. Jiggle and wiggle. Get herself.
Jack too.
Yeah, I mean, she's got that strength on there again, Pilates. So she gets herself free. One of the things I loved about Art the Clown was his annoyed faces. When he would just do those, it just, to me, it brought a little bit of that. I think was the perfect bit of comedy to that character. It's just like, like what a real serial killer part would be like. Oh fuck, man, she got escaped. Okay, I gotta go get her now. You don't see that in Jason, you don't see that in Freddy, you don't see that in Hatchet, you don't see that in any of those other ones. But in Art the Clown, we get some good frustration.
But this is where, at this point, where she does make probably like her first like mistake. In this, where she only stabs him like one time and runs off.
Yes, that's my note. Is they do their cat and mouse chase, and I think she gets stabbed a couple times in the leg, and she gets the upper hand on him.
And she should just go to town. I mean, I'm talking like 60 stab wounds go to town over and over and over and over again. But she hits him one good time and is like, he's good.
Yeah, and then she gets the piece of wood, and she does this wrestling thing where she's just like, okay, get up. Oh.
Yeah, get up! I fucking dare you, bitch! And he's just like, yeah. And here's what gets me about the one stab and run. It happens throughout the entire fucking movie.
Yeah,
it's the entire movie. Anytime he was like, I got the upper hand on Art, I'm out. Right, there's no like, I should probably mess this guy up. But let's be honest, Art's had a rough enough life. One stab's good enough in my book.
Art's had a rough. So she's running around. We get some more cat and mouse. We get up to the janitor, who again, he's just there for someone to kill. Janitor gets a hammer to the head, which we get another horror movie.
He's an exterminator, right? He's not a janitor.
That's my boy Mike. Don't disrespect Mike like that.
Or maybe he's the super. One of the two. I didn't know if he was the janitor, the super for the building, the maintenance dude.
No, he's an exterminator.
He's an exterminator.
Yeah, but he has a lot of keys to like the building and everything.
Yeah, you had to get around the building. There's a lot of keys in the building. My house has 2 keys.
He's like the Schneider of this building.
Schneider.
Yeah.
Like absolutely no one listening knows what you were talking about just then.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Schneider's a character on this show. They're called. Hold on. Let me get a little help from the team here. Schneider. Who's Schneider? Okay, the exterminator, and we get another one of our standard horror movie tropes. The lady's gimping away. She's running. She stops conveniently like 20 feet from the dude. Instead of continuing to go towards the guy and say help, she stops. Help. Long enough.
He's got his ear pods in. He's not paying attention.
Yeah. He's getting into the, he's listening to like some, in my mind, he's listening to K-pop while he's killing himself some roaches or rats or whatever. Because Mike is down with the K-pop. So while Mike's busy listening to all the K-pop, the Terrifier, basically gets him. Well, it doesn't really get him. Terrifier grabs her, does the whole, pulls her aside. Then what do we get? We get more cat and mouse nonsense.
Well, he sticks her, knocks her out.
Yeah, he gets her with the needle finally, right?
Yeah, she went down really quick from that needle. I mean, that was like instantly. He put it in and she was out.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy.
That's pretty. You just explained my sex life. But Yeah, so she gets tied up. Oh man, I'm thumbing through this. I had some good notes. I think we start to get more of the homeless lady. Where are we at here?
Oh yeah, he that happened before the fucking Dawn shit, didn't it? Oh, fuck,
That's how he got her to sit like tied up in front of Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he drugged her like with the little like needle in the neck.
So we're a little bit over. I'm totally skipping everything with the sister because it's just a bunch of random. She's walking around the building looking at creepy stuff, doing creepy shit.
Kara, are you in there?
Yeah, because that's
But
what you do is you sneak into random buildings and you think something's wrong, you just yell the person's name as loud as you can.
This is my favorite. Well, one of my second favorite scene in the movie, I should say, when she's just she gets away. We're back to her fucking just yanking the chair in half with her own arm, and she's like beating him up with a 2x4. It's like, ah, fuck, this hurts. And she's like, get up, like talking trash to him. It was great. Like she's straight. It's like watching a WWE match where the guy's like, "Get up! Is that all you have? All you got?"
No, that's
like,
too good
wow.
for WWE. That's probably some AEW action right there. Vanguard. This is what we need. We need a Vanguard 1 to come down and help her out.
You hear that, WWE? We're calling you out. You got a problem? nerdlocker.com/legal.
Vince McMahon, Skeleton Booty's calling you a little bitch.
No, not me. That's you. I don't want that. I don't want those legal problems. He knows the president, apparently.
What's the president? Where are we at, man? Okay, so
she's beating him with a 2x4.
2x4 action, and are we to the part where she is killed yet?
Yeah, kind of. It's like she's like, get up, get up. And in my notes, it just says in like some very large letters, Art's got some heat. Because she's like egging him on, and he just pulls like a gun out and just get.
All right, so we get the thing. Art kills her, which is one of my favorite scenes. Is he gets annoyed, gun doesn't work, he's got to go digging through his bag to get another clip. One of my favorite things because he's just like frustrated. Shoots her in the face, then he shoots her a couple more times in the face real quick. Then we start getting on to the sister and your boy Mike. He gets bopped in the head. The clown just stinks up behind him. So he's out for the count. Sister's looking for him. Little cat and mouse thing. Then we get to see what I think is probably the best scene is where Art has his mommy issues apparently.
I mean, straight like thumb sucking mommy issues.
Yeah, so we get Art thumb sucking the homeless lady, which I guess apparently is Skeleton Booty's new fantasy. He's got a little crush on her.
I have dreams. I was like, I'm gonna have to save this scene for later.
A little later, you gotta chop it up, throw it up on Pornhub.
I got it geared up for after the podcast is done. Sitting over there.
And then Art just, we find out later, Art kills her. Decides to cut off some skin, and we get, I think, one of the best things in the history of horror is Victoria, our new protagonist, is looking through a glory hole and sees little Mr. Art dancing around.
It's a peephole. It's not a glory hole. It's a peephole.
I don't know the difference. I'm glad you do. So...
like her sister shows up, and she's like just walking around this warehouse, or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be, and she shows up, and Art gets the phone and sends her like a text, like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, just come around the back, Dawn stick.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, sure.
So
I'm gonna do that.
She wanders in the house, and she sees Dawn doing this number, right? And her first instinct is, I better explore this place a little bit more. Not, hey, the cops should probably be notified about this.
Yeah, apparently that whole family has some weird, overly, I don't know, emotional problems where they don't feel fear or anxiety or anything, because she's just like, oh yeah, she split right down the vajayjay. That's cool. Let's go ahead. Let's poke around a little bit, see what's going on.
Let's split up.
So she's done poking around. She's hanging out, looking through the peephole, and we see Art the Clown doing some Art the Clown stuff, wearing some skin. I'm a fan of that. It puts the lotion on the skin.
Definitely Buffalo Bill-esque
Yes.
type stuff there.
It was so great because she thinks it's her sister at first, right? Like she sees Art, like Art's like on the ground like this, like, oh no, don't fucking look at me. She's like, oh God, Tara, are you okay? Because apparently Tara has like the back of like a 39-year-old man.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, psych, you thought, bitch. And it's just Art in a wig, and he's got the homeless lady's just titties on his chest.
Which I love that scene, because that would have been a scene that would have been so easy to start doing some chest grabbing and stuff to like really overdo it. But it was just some weird dancing. And I actually appreciated how they under sexualized that scene and just didn't go for the easy grabbing of the chest, kind of stripper dance. It was just kind of an awkward, you know what I mean? I'm wearing a costume
like a
dance.
Child.
Yeah,
Almost.
exactly.
Like, it's probably my favorite scene in the movie, because like you'll notice like Art, his like mannerisms aren't like, don't come across as malicious, except for when he's sawing people in half. Like he's usually like it's like a kid, like he's carefree, just goofing about.
And I mean, so she gets out, Mike shows up, cat and mouse, she's gonna get killed. She gets hit a couple times with his cool guy, was it a rope that's got some syringes on it?
I fucking love it. It's got like razor blades. He's like,
yeah.
That's actually pretty cool. I mean, kind of
Yeah.
like back in the beginning when he was putting that together, it kind of had that first thing, and I saw that opening scene, and he's kind of had like a Nightmare on Elm Street, like Freddy Krueger, down in the boiler room or the dungeon or whatever, like making his glove.
The horror Rambo montage.
Yeah.
And he kills that Will guy too.
Yeah, no one cares about Will.
Yeah, Will's fucking nothing.
He was body count.
I was so excited when he showed up.
I mean, I didn't even remember that Will's in the movie until you actually just said it right now. So we get another cat and mouse, another one of the you knock Art down, and instead of killing his ass, you just walk away. So then we pretty much get to the end of the movie. She gets away. She decides, instead of running down the street or something, to go into another building that conveniently says "keep out," because that's
in
smart.
big red spray paint.
Yeah, big red spray paint. Don't go in here. You're probably going to die. Keep out. That's essentially what it said. So she goes in there, and she gets hit by a car.
Yeah.
The cops start and then we get kind of a quick ending. She gets hit by the car, and then the cops show up, and Art's just, having a little bit of meal, a little midnight snack on her face, and he shoots himself in the head.
He puts the gun like straight in his mouth.
Yeah.
And blows the back of his head out.
And I liked it. I mean, it was kind of a quick ending, but I mean, I'm like, okay, we're done now. But wait, there's more. Yeah.
We got to set up a sequel.
Yeah, no, we don't really set up a sequel. We get we set up a sequel-ish, and then we go to the world's most ghetto morgue.
The hallway into the morgue was a reused scene from the warehouse.
Was it? I was like, is this like Uncle Phil's basement or something?
It's a morgue.
Yeah. So we go into the world's worst morgue. Art the Clown's alive. Kill. And that's not the end of the movie. There's more.
But wait.
There's more. And I can't do it because this just makes my head hurt. This is what almost killed the movie for me. Mark, go ahead and bring us home.
Which part are you talking about? Are you talking about like we're going back to lasagna face and like?
Yeah, we're at the ending where the big twist comes into play.
Well, the big twist is that like the unknown lasagna face thumb killer girl from the beginning that is actually the sister who survived the brutal attack by Art, and he really only had a few seconds to start like chowing down on her, like when he was there before he killed himself, and she's pretty messed up for
A few seconds.
Yeah, for just a few seconds. I mean, he's kind of looking, he tastes her blood like real quick, and he getting ready to get started. And I mean, she's totally jacked up. Looks like she has done nothing in the last year. Like there's been no skin grafts. There's nothing, just lasagna face.
Yeah, it's like one eye socket somehow has skin growing over it, which isn't how skin works. And the other eyeball's like, I'm like, which kind of, I guess,
the worst doctors ever.
Yeah, I mean,
the absolute worst doctor. And like was that like her mom that is like there with her, and they're basically like, oh, everything's great, it's going to be an amazing life that you're going to lead from here on out.
At least she didn't lose her sense of humor.
Yeah.
And
what the fuck, Mom?
Which there's, and I guess this kind of gets me, that's the movie in a nutshell. Sets it up for a sequel. There's a sequel coming out this year. It's going to involve a brother and a sister and Art the Clown. We'll see how that pans out. But nothing about the narrative of the movie led me to believe that one of his victims would go crazy in that manner and like start killing and laugh like like a clown.
Like in the beginning. Yeah. I mean, it was such a random scene in the beginning. You get completely away from it. And I was kind of surprised at the end to find out that was, they were tying that together, that, we'd actually gone a year back in time to like this massacre.
So that's basically it. That is the Terrifier. So on a scale of 1 to 5 Scullys, Mark Bone, how many Scullys you give this?
Like, I mean, the movie obviously has its faults. It's a low budget horror movie. And everything that you would expect from a low budget horror movie you see. Art the Clown, especially like David Thornton, it really is like, he's obviously the reason to watch it. And he's so good. Just all of like the body language and the facial expressions, it makes it creepy. It makes it good. The rest of it is this kind of subpar horror. There's no plot. It's kind of torture pornish type things. I mean, at least in, like Saw, we had a little bit of a story. We didn't find out much about Art and at all. Like, I don't know, like he's got these mommy issues. I wanted to know more, like what's going on there. I mean, he still killed her. But practical effects, I'm always a fan. Practical effects. So long answer to your very short question. I would say I would give it 3 Scullys, and 2 of them are because David Thornton, I think, really did the movie justice, at least for like what he was asked to do.
Twitch celebrity Skeleton Booty, how many Scullys do you give this?
So I'm gonna agree with him on a 3 out of 5 is kind of where I sit at it, because I didn't love it. I did like it though. I was talking shit about it earlier, but I liked it. If you have time, you want to have a few drinks, hang out with some friends, watch kind of a campy film, you can't go wrong with Terrifier. The gore and special effects can be really hit and miss. Sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're kind of mediocre. The score's good. The acting is bearable. Art is great in design, and the person they got to play him. The plot is super basic. There's not a whole lot to follow. So if it's like, you guys are getting drunk, it's like a party, and you just want some kind of background, you really can't go wrong with it.
I gotta agree. I think 3 out of 5. I personally liked that there wasn't a lot of exposition. This is a character that I really don't care that much about his backstory at this point. I think it would just bog down the movie. I'm sure if we get sequel 3, 4, and 5, then they'll start building some sort of mythology around Art the Clown. But right now, I'm perfectly fine with the old school Michael Myers, just evil for the sake of being evil. I don't care. I think this is going to be a franchise that's going to live on the imagery of Art the Clown and the creativeness of the kills. So if they can kind of keep doing some creative different kills, I don't think it really went too far off into torture porn, only because there was only a couple kills. If you watch what's traditionally thought of as torture porn, there's a lot of those kind of kills. Like the whole movie becomes 100% about those kind of kills. So I think
Really
the Terrifier. What's that?
really only the Dawn scene really kind of was drug out like that. Where
But,
they sawed her in half.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, I think it hasn't quite crossed that line into what I personally feel is torture porn, like your Hostels or your Saws, those kind of things that are traditionally known as the torture porn movies. I'm looking forward to Terrifier 2. I'm probably going to jump on Amazon and see if I can find a copy of the DVD or Blu-ray. It has a commentary. I'm a commentary nerd. I think it could be a fun commentary to listen to, kind of a making of that movie. But yeah, 3 out of 5. I'm with you. Looking forward to Terrifier 2. And that pretty much wraps up the Terrifier. You guys got any saved rounds or alibis?
Any what?
Saved. It's a military thing.
Unfortunately,
Damien
I was not in the
Leone.
military.
I'm calling you out. Come on the Deathlocker podcast. Let's have a conversation about your continuity errors there, buddy.
There we go. Until next time, I'm Hobo Socks.
Mark Bone.
And
Skeleton Booty.
the world famous Skeleton Booty. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hmm.